Hi, I'm Amy and welcome to my channel. Happy New Year everybody. I'm a relationship and manifestation mentor and this channel is all about merging spirituality and psychology so that you can manifest your relationships. And in today's video, I'm going to discuss traditional law of attraction teachings with what I like to call modern law of attraction teachings, the difference between them, and referring to my own personal journey because I think a lot of people's journeys follow a similar path. So let's dive in. So when I first came across law of attraction, and by that I mean books like The Secret, Abraham Hicks, and also the works of Neville Goddard as well. That's how I was personally introduced to, the universe is giving me what I want, to ask, believe and receive, and all I've got to do is visualize for half an hour a day and what I want will magically happen. And this did work for a time until I would say about 3 years into my journey where it just wasn't working for me. And what I'd come to realise is that no matter what I manifested, it wasn't making me happy. So I would manifest my person back in, but it didn't last long because I had the fear show up of I was going to be abandoned, the relationship was going to end, someone was going to take him away from me. And what I found from traditional law of attraction teachings was that, yes, you can get what you want. You can. And there is nothing wrong with these teachings. But on one hand, I had what I wanted. But on the other hand, all of my unhealed trauma was also part of my experience. And I was available to this because I hadn't healed it. So around 3, maybe 4 years into my journey, I really shifted gears. And I came to the awareness, really, that the traditional law of attraction teachings, which are encouraging you to believe that it is just take from the universe, I shifted gears and I thought there's got to be more to this because I want to enjoy the things that I manifest and I can't because I'm not happy with it. I don't believe that I deserve it, really. I don't believe that I'm worthy of it. And I had all of these limiting beliefs, which meant that I was so uncomfortable in my relationship, and anything really that manifested, I was always thinking it's going to get taken away. So what happened to me was I read a book called A Course in Miracles, and I would definitely recommend this book if you are looking to deepen your own understanding of who you really are at your core. So I would recommend that book. I also started following different spiritual teachers and really shifted my perception on what the law of attraction really was. And it wasn't about getting all the stuff that I wanted. It was about healing and embodiment. And I know, depending on where you're at the moment, that might sound incredibly unsatisfying because it was to me. And I also felt really triggered by it because I thought, well, if I stop visualizing what I want, then I'm not going to get my stuff, and I want my stuff. And I came to a point where, well, I'm not enjoying it anyway, so I might as well do it. I might as well try. And what I stopped doing was I stopped visualizing, I stopped affirming and did nothing but heal myself. I really did dive into healing what my internal trauma was. So my fear of abandonment, my anxious attachment style, my relationship traumas, my divorce, emotional abandonment. I looked at all of these things and decided that I was going to heal these. Now, I want to give you an example of what I mean by this because it can become quite confusing depending on which teachings you follow. So if we've got two people, both after a relationship, for example, person number one is using traditional law of attraction teachings. So they're visualizing their relationship, they're getting themselves into the feeling of having it, and they're affirming every day, they're doing a mental diet. But when the relationship comes in, they're afraid, they're not ready for it, they don't know what their boundaries are, they don't know how to communicate their needs to their partner, and ultimately what will happen is they'll move into resentment for their partner because they're not having their needs met. Whereas person number two, who has done their healing work, who is more secure in themselves, has a good sense of who they are as a person, when their relationship comes in, They're ready for it, and they don't have this fear in the background saying that this is going to go away, because they believe that they're worthy. They believe that they deserve the relationship. They are secure within who they are. They know how to meet their own needs. They know how to set boundaries. So that is just an example of the different teachings and the results of it. Now, if you're sat there thinking, well, if I start doing healing work, that must mean that I'm not going to get what I want. That is not true, because what you will find when you start doing the healing work, and think of it as more of a letting go. Law of attraction, traditional law of attraction teachings are adding on to what's already there, but what's already there is already manifesting. So what we want to do is we want to heal what's already there so that it stops showing up for us. We're no longer available for abandonment. We're no longer available to toxic relationships anymore, because we've healed those patterns within us. So when you are doing it in the more, as I say, the modern law of attraction ways, the manifestation is a natural byproduct. So don't be scared about not getting the things that you want because it's a different way. Because when you heal those wounds and you stop becoming available for those old patterns anymore, what happens naturally is that the manifestation comes in. So if you're sitting for an hour a day visualizing, just try temporarily to use that hour a day on healing work instead, and see what happens and see how you feel. Because I know when I was trying the traditional techniques without the healing, there was always this sense of anxiety in the background. There was always this sense of, oh my God, it's not going to happen, or oh my God, he's going to leave me again. There was always that sense there because I hadn't healed it. But once I had, and I can tell you, I did not visualize that relationship. I didn't. He just came back in. I didn't need to do anything. I didn't need to try and manipulate the outside. I didn't need to try and change the outside. I didn't force myself to believe it. All I did was I let go of all the reasons why I couldn't have it. That's all I did. And the relationship came back in, and it was so much easier. It all seemed to fall into place exactly where it should. And actually, the 5 years that I'd spent trying to manifest this person to move in with me, for example, or to have the relationship that I want, it happened within 6 months. He'd moved in with me within 6 months of getting back together, because I focus more on healing, and I still do now. I make that the priority. So you show your subconscious mind that you are the most important, that it all starts with you. And if you're an unhealed person going into a relationship, and if you continue to fall into these patterns when you're in a relationship, you're just going to continue going on in this cycle. Now, another thing I wanted to mention on this video is there has got to be a balance. So what we don't want to happen is that you get stuck in this cycle of healing and healing and healing and healing. When you're stuck in the cycle of healing, it is actually a coping mechanism. And I did this. I was so stuck in my healing and so focused on me. I wasn't focused at all on what was happening now. I wasn't focused at all. Wasn't present in my day-to-day life at all. And I came to realize that actually that was a coping mechanism, so I didn't have to deal with what was going on the outside. So what we want is we want a balance. We want to be able to use some of our time healing, but also use some of the time going forward towards what we want. And this is where I mean that visualization and affirmations do have a purpose, but use it as more of a compass of this is where I'm going. Not trying to convince yourself that you have it. You're just saying to yourself, this is the direction I want to go in. So it's much more subtle, and there's not the pressure there. It's just, oh, I'm going to go this way. This is how I'm going to show up today. How do I show up more as the person who has the thing that I want? And just do it subtly. You don't have to focus on the thing that I want solely, because if I don't, it's not going to happen. That isn't true. So instead of thinking of ask, believe and receive, think of the law of attraction as healing and embodiment, and let the manifestation be the byproduct of it. So stop making the manifestation to be the means to the end, because it's not. So in the traditional sense, you're using the desire and kind of putting the cart before the horse. So I want to do a lot more videos on healing work and on how to consciously be in a relationship. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Again, Happy New Year, everybody, and I will see you in the next video.